Let's take a look at some of the best dog walks in West Yorkshire, in my opinion. So, the best off-lead dog walk for me has to be Horbury Lagoons. There's plenty of fields for your dogs to have a run in. There's also multiple different tracks along the canal, the river, around the lagoons themselves, and through the nearby park all the way to the golf course. So there is loads and loads of space. There's loads of different routes. You're never going to get bored because you've got tons of different options. Plus, if your dog's a keen swimmer, there are a few points along the route where they can have a little bit of a paddle, but do check for the safety of the water first, as it has been known to be algae blooms there, and also there are some areas that are extremely deep or have a strong current. So always check that the water is safe before you allow your dogs to enter. There's also a woodland section which is perfect for sniffing games or hide and seek, or for helping you stay sheltered from the rain in the cooler months or from the sun in the warmer months. What about the best dog walk in Wakefield? So for me, it has to be New Miller Dam. There are so many different routes to choose from, you will never get bored there. You can walk around the lake itself, you can walk through the woods, or you can go through the fields adjacent to the woods. So you've got tons of options. There's even a cycle track, which is a slightly easier walk for those with joint problems or lower mobility, or for those of you who have children in pushchairs. So that's also a great option. You can also take the pushchairs and the dogs that are struggling a little bit around the lake itself, as this is quite a nice gravel path, but it does just get a bit busier than the bridle path. So just be mindful of when you go if you're wanting to make sure that it's a quieter walk for you and your dogs. If you're going to walk around the woods, you can go along the river, you can walk the Gnome Roam or the Castle Trails, and if you're feeling really adventurous, there's even a Wakefield walk mapped out, which takes you around the entire city. So that'll keep you busy for at least a few days. What about the best walk in Huddersfield then? So my favourite walk in Huddersfield would have to be Storrs Hall Woods. So again, you do get the challenging terrain here. It's a bit more for the fitter dogs, as it's on an extremely steep hill and it can get very slippy in the winter. But if you want a little bit of an easier walk for your older dogs, or if you just want a bit of a relax and you don't want to climb the steep hill yourself, you can walk around the fields and the top of the woods, which are much better and much easier to access, but you do just have to watch out for the squirrels. There are tons of squirrels here, and if you've got a dog that likes to chase squirrels, they're going to be after them. So the best walk that I've found, if you have 2 dogs, is to head towards the football pitches, as below these there's a great field of mid-length grass for your dogs to have a good play and explore. And then from there you can choose to walk further down into the woods, or you can go back through the football fields and back onto a bit of a wider path, which gives you a bit more room. So again, tons of options here. You're not going to get bored. The best place to walk a reactive or nervous dog can be quite hard. It can be quite a challenge to find somewhere where you know you can have a nice relaxing walk with your dog and it's not going to be too difficult or too challenging for them. Being in Huddersfield, we're quite lucky to have access to some moorland, and the best spot I found is in Meltham. So what you can do is you can walk from the end of Red Lane all the way up to Deer Hill Reservoir, or back along the river to Blackmore Foot Reservoir if your dog is happy crossing the roads. And these are normally really quiet paths. They will get busy sometimes on the weekends or in the summer with people from the reservoirs, but generally in the midweek, and if it's a bit rainy, they're pretty good paths, but they are quite slippy. They are just mudded footpaths, so they do get quite boggy. The main reason I prefer Meltham is that there are hardly any sheep or cattle up there. They are still there in some areas, so do make sure that you've got your dog on a lead when crossing these points. But there's a lovely walk from the end of Red Lane up onto the moors, which never has any livestock or anything like that there, and it's always lovely and quiet, so that's a really good place to go. The best place to walk a puppy or an elderly dog, or one who is recovering from an injury, is somewhere where it's a little bit easier, and my personal favourite is Sandell Castle, because not only does it have an amazing view over Wakefield, it's got a cafe and lots of benches. They're every 10 yards or so there's plenty of opportunity for your dogs to have a rest, or for you to have a rest if you're recovering from an injury yourself. whilst you can still interact with the other people that are there and the other dogs if you wish. There's also a lovely path there. It's quite a nice gravel path, so again, suitable for pushchairs. And if you do want to venture a bit further afield, you can head down the fields towards Pugneys, but just be careful of this path in the winter because it does get very muddy and slippery.